I'm writing a report on how you can get more of what you want. And I prayed and meditated on the topic last night. And when I woke up today, I wrote a 5-page essay specifically talking about why great talent is squandered in an unexamined life. I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. Now, I'm going to just read this to you or work through this as a narrative so that you can understand the true power that you have over your life, your outcomes, and the opportunities that you face. Those dreams you had never happen are because of your capacity and personal limitations. That's what you're told. The dreams that you have had in the past that have not come to reality, they will tell you it's because of your capability. It's because of your personal limitations. Yet incredible people overcome obstacles even when they're right in their own environment. So it's true. People who have started from nothing have achieved great things. Many of my subscribers have gone from just regular jobs, high school education, basic college, and they've gone to become parts of the top earners in this nation, even in the world. This is very important to remember because if some can achieve in an environment that has nearly everything against them, then others can also achieve. And the reason for this is because there are crabs keeping you down. I don't know if you've heard the story of the crabs in the bucket, but as you put crabs in a bucket, we used to go crabbing a lot on the Chesapeake Bay, and we would get crabs and we'd throw them in a bucket. Now, we never had to worry about them actually escaping. We could throw them in the bottom of the boat. It doesn't matter. We're pulling in crab pots. We're dumping out these crabs. They don't climb out of the boat. Now, why is that? Well, it's because the first time a crab starts reaching for that light, reaching for the escape and the freedom that they desire, two crabs will just pull them right down. Oh, you don't deserve that. The system is broken. We're all victims in the same system and we got to fight the system, but don't fight too much. Don't clarify the goals and objectives you have and create a plan for action. We're just going to bitch and complain. And so those crabs in the bucket are pulling down the other crabs and nobody gets out of the bucket. Now, to break free, you must understand that big business and political systems don't want you to take your own interests in mind. They'll constantly tell you, for the good of the people, we shall follow the science and therefore we shall. And they'll give you some ridiculous ass thing that doesn't help anything. They will give you their reasons why you need to follow them, and that the path of freedom that you seek comes only through their salvation. And so in order to break free, you've got to understand that this system does exist. One of the things that I do in my analysis work is I look at the statements of these groups that oppose each other, from white nationalists to black nationalists, from environmentalist groups to the lobby materials that the oil companies put out. I look at these counter arguments and I try to find the similarities. Every person on this planet seeks freedom. They seek the opportunity to pursue happiness. That's why the majority of the population is moving from places of distress to places of relative freedom. Nobody is running into a war zone wanting more dictatorship. They don't ask for that. However, they often get that because the political systems don't have your best interests in mind, and a whole swath of the population is actually seeking external solutions to internal challenges. Now, I don't say problems because you can change your mind like you can change your underwear. All you got to do is have a good enough reason. Now, the challenge is that there's thousands of people around you, like the crabs in the bottom of the bucket, pulling you down because they believe that, hey, look, don't climb out of that bucket. Somebody put us in here. Somebody will take us back out. Unfortunately, the crabs, they come out of there right into the boiler and they become food for someone else. That means a large percentage of the population has the same frustrations, the same fears, the same concerns, but they're seeking an external solution. Folks, I promise you that you already have within you today the knowledge, the skills, the opportunities that will take you anywhere that you so desire. So much so that I will explain to you how those desires are built upon your experiences. And very often, they're just slightly out of reach. Now, unfortunately, there are media systems, there are means of entertainment that keep them outside your reach. But I will show you a way that you can go beyond the veil and achieve. Because not everyone on this planet is in the same situation. Now, to be fair, it is a prison planet. Yeah, until we are able to colonize Mars, until we're able to put moon bases on, you pretty much are born and you pretty much die here. But it's changing, though. The world around us is changing, and it's not the same way it was in the 1800s. It's not the same way it was in the 1900s. It is a new world of opportunity. Unfortunately, a lot of effort goes in so you don't see this. Now, it's not my role to save you, okay? All I can really deliver is a bundle of tools over the prison wall that includes a way to escape, okay? It's really up to you. It is the proverbial saw blade in the birthday cake. You've got to eat the cake, and you've got to find the blade, and you've got to use it. Now, sometimes you've got to hide the fact that you know how to escape. Because again, you tell the people around you, hey, look, I got this dream, I've got this opportunity, and I'm going to do it. And they're going to say, well, the last time you had that crazy ass dream, you didn't do anything, and you're still one of us. And oh yeah, well, Elon Musk can do it, but you, you've got all these fancy, why don't you get a job? Why don't you go work? Now, many of you have gotten a job, excelled in the job, gained professional skill, gained expertise and knowledge, and you're moving forward, but you've hit an obstacle, a roadblock, and maybe you're starting to wonder, are you in the right place? Are you serving the right people? One client of mine asked, hey, if someone came along and gave me a lot of money to do something that was a little bit sketchy, I'd do it once, take the money, and then use the money so I never had to do it again. Life doesn't work that way. Life does not work that way. The walls of the prison that holds you back is made of the shattered dreams and the past excuses, and also your perception of who you are in the present. Those prison walls are made tall by the obstacles that you must triumph over in order to achieve what you so desire. Now remember, though, what you desire is built on your experiences. It is possible those things you desire are not good for you. They are not going to take you to freedom and opportunity. They're not going to unlock. And that's why a lot of folks get into what's called a golden parachute. They're making in the top 10% of the population. They got a nice car. They got a beautiful house. Maybe they have a beautiful wife or a beautiful husband or a wonderful children. And then they want to make a change in their life, and they can't. Their own family is like the crabs in the bottom of the bucket pulling them back. Well, honey, I don't know if we should take that new opportunity because we'll have to move across the country. And you know what? That's not great. Well, we worked for a year remotely. Why couldn't that opportunity be remote? Oh, no, they're not going to let you do that. Listen to the conversations around you. Listen to the excuses that people make and understand that not everyone has the same experience. Now, because you're listening to this, I know that you're fed up, that you're done. You see the prison walls. You're like, holy crap, there's walls keeping me at my level. There's walls keeping me here when opportunity abounds. And now people are telling you about these opportunities, by the way. It's the whole carrot and the stick. They say, oh, yeah, well, outside here, it's very nice. And if you just work hard enough, you could come outside with us. Now, the truth of the matter is that you have to be someone who is keen on receiving and achieving the results that you desire, that you're going to think about, that you're going to cultivate, that you're going to fully understand the value and benefit, even do a cost-benefit analysis to see whether your desires are really going to help you. Because you have achieved some things by now. just not everything that you desire. It seems to be slightly out of reach. And it's slightly out of reach because there is so much entertainment and opportunities to soothe the mind. There's drugs, there's alcohol, there's videos on the YouTubes, and there's just constant entertainment. But again, it deceives us to believe that we can't do what we're capable of doing. Politicians claim that if you follow them, they will lead you to freedom, yet only mention liberty and the pursuit of happiness when it serves their interests. Why can't you have freedom now? Why can't you have happiness now? Why can't you pursue the opportunities and the happiness and the feelings of desire? Well, guess what? The system's designed to let you pursue those things in a way that is not meaningful. That in fact makes you the product of advertising platforms. That makes you the product of a recent poll on voting and support of a president. That minimizes who you are to make you a commodity in a marketplace. Their promises are so compelling that even the dead vote. I heard somebody joke around that, wow, that candidate is so good, I'm going to vote twice. And I'm not joking. It happens on all sides. These are the challenges of this world. Now, big businesses invest in systems where consumption keeps stakeholders raised up and consumers in their place. And as long as the livestock are working, they say we're all family in the business here. We're all family, but first time the family's having any challenges, first time there's a risk that the big boss isn't going to get their bonus, they're ready to let people go. And they start at the top, folks. They start in the middle management, the middle class, because again, you've got income. You look as if you were blessed. You are supposedly better than the rest. Yet you'll be right straight on the streets, first sign of any financial distress. Now, in this political and economic climate, you know the challenges that you face. You know the obstacles that are there. You see the drawback. Now, I'm going to go into a few little quick points about why it is so critical that you examine your life so that you don't squander great talents, so that you don't leave behind in another year, look back, and the dreams and the things that you were working towards are gone. Now, one thing about society in a modern world where we have a lot of media, where we have a lot of overconnection, is that you can virtualize the feelings of achievement. That's why video games are so popular. You are achieving, you're leveling up in the game. Yet in real life, you're sitting in the same spot. And this can be depressing. The same people who promise equal opportunity or promised in the past are now promising equal outcomes. How is that possible? All people start on the same starting line. Let's say it's a race, a marathon. That's what life is. It's really a marathon. Everybody starts on the same starting line. The timing is even adjusted so people further back in the line have the same time from start to finish as the person standing in the very front of the race. That way, when everybody runs the race, they're measured on the time it takes them to complete. Yet no matter how you line them up, no matter how you measure success, there are some who finish the race and there are some who do not. This is critical for you to understand because when they promise you equal outcomes, how can they deliver what is so unnatural without taking from some? Now, you're the target of those. Many of my subscribers are millionaires, high-income professionals. They're leaders in their business, yet they're not quite at an elite status. They know they haven't reached peak performance. And because of this, they very often are the fodder to fund other programs. Now, I'm not against helping the poor, but the best way to help the poor is not be one of them. And it is to lift them up with entrepreneurial skills where they can become self-sufficient, not dependent on me, not dependent on a government, not dependent on some big business program, but their own person. And no matter what level of income, no matter what level in life, no matter how you're seen by the world around you, you know there's always further to go up the mountain. You can become better at what you do. You can become more distinguished at what you do. And it all is possible yet around you. Rather than clearing obstacles from the way, they often put up more mandates, more restrictions. They want you to do it their way, not your way, but your way is better for you. You know more about your situation than any government official, any big business, any marketing agency. You know what your situation is. And by the way, that's why marketing agencies and big businesses tend to cultivate the desires that you need. Now, there's a book called Propaganda by Edward Bernays. I'm not going to go into details of the book, but there are systems. I'm in the business development world. I'm in the marketing world. I'm in the risk management world. There are ways to have large populations follow rules so that those who make the rules benefit. And then fortunately, though, there are also ways for you to break out of this. See, they call it programming. They pump into your homes, injecting into your minds the opinions, beliefs, and narratives that you must believe. Now, we even have in today's cancel culture that if you fail to believe the common truth, that you're persecuted for not believing it. You know, if you believe that the sacredness of life, and you know you're in this one camp, the other camp's going to persecute you. Now, unfortunately, if you flip the story, it's the same thing. Both sides are always yelling at each other, and they're not really achieving anything. Is it possible to take back your mind and achieve more even in these times? Of course it is. Of course it's possible. You can write your own story in life and navigate beyond these hazards to have more of what you desire. Unfortunately, that desire is not yours. It is the siren song of consumerism. I need you to understand that what you believe you want today may not actually be good for you. It may not even be your own belief. It may be programmed into you by cultural expectations. It may be programmed into you by the media you consume, by your religious beliefs, and by the world around you. Remember, those crabs in the bucket are, while they're pulling you back in, they're telling you, oh, it's best for you that you don't stretch too much. It's best for you that you stay with us. We're your family. Don't venture too far out. It's dangerous. Yet all those crabs climbed right into the crab pot and we hoisted them into the boat, and they have no idea anything past the walls of their prison. I'm telling you, though, that some of these desires are really good. Okay? There are systems of thinking that are extremely good for you. However, we have to separate the wheat from the chaff. We have to understand what is good for you, the well-examined life, versus what has been programmed into you to serve someone else. Now, what you need is to exercise the freedom of your mind to unlock your own motivations, to achieve on your own terms, and it must work in an environment of zombies. Those crabs aren't thinking, they're just pulling the other ones down. Now, sometimes they're trying to climb over the other ones. So you may find people who have mutual interests, that have mutual desires, but they'll just climb right over top of you if they get the chance. They'll slam dunk your face right in the sand while they're reaching for a goal that may or may not be of value to anybody involved. The world around you is really in a trance. Now, fortunately, you're in the right place. Listening to this podcast, investing the time in understanding your world, well, you will reveal to yourself that you are strong enough to navigate these obstacles. Now, the world around you may believe you have achieved success, an above average income, a house in the suburbs, and your nice stable job, yet you have started to suspect cracks in the matrix. You have started to suspect that all is not what it seems. I want to open that door for you. Now, just to shift a little bit here, in my essay that I wrote this morning, I did list out a number of evidential situations that you've probably seen. Like, for example, the typical employee who's been at the same company for 5 years or more. If you do inflation adjust your offer salary, you'll often find that you have less than half the buying power that you started with. Now, it's a complex topic because you also realize that at the same time, you have twice the responsibilities. So that alone, and I'm not going to read the other ones, otherwise I'll have to have the suicide hotline disclaimer in here, because that alone, understanding that you worked for a company who has been piling on new responsibilities and they've been paying you almost a token increase. Inflation right now, 6%. Are you getting a 6% raise this year? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe if you have stock options and stuff, you might be close. But again, you're not free. So I'm going to skip that section in the paper right here because, again, I don't want this to be depressing. I want this to be revealing. And I want you to understand that even in despair, not everyone has those experiences. In fact, some people take this as a catalyst to examine their goals, examine their objectives, and develop their own narrative for the outcomes that they desire. Let me reveal that this despair is not for everyone. The elite of this world, as well as some of your peers, live freely. They remove the distractions of this world to focus on what provides them personal enlightenment, what provides them personal satisfaction. And they don't do this in a hedonistic way. They're doing this with their family, raising their children with the respect for themselves, with the ability to think, the ability to remain free. They're working in their community and they're contributing. And these distractions of the world, while they seem extremely loud, they develop focus to achieve what they desire. Now, I've written a whole report that helps you find and focus resources to achieve more of the outcomes you desire. It helps you examine your life so that you know what is appropriate and what is inappropriate for you to focus your activity. And my ask to you is that you use it to cultivate freedom and liberty rather than a system of slavery. It's really how you opt out of what others want for you. Now imagine the crabs in the bucket are pulling you down. What if you just never got in the bucket in the first place? What if you stayed outside the system doing what is important for you and your family? You're not harming anybody by being more successful. Now, I know the society around you tells you that if you're rich, you're hurting people. But the way I see it is that if you increase the resources you have far beyond the means or the need, that surplus can be given to where you feel it is most appropriate. You earned it. You have a best knowledge of how hard it was to earn it. Why not have the full and entire control of where to place it? And that's really what the elite have. They have the ability to create a narrative and present that narrative to people who then follow the narrative because they don't have one of their own. Well, if you had one of your own, you'd have a better opportunity to steer the world around you into a path that is most congruent and healthy to make possible future opportunities for your children, to help them live in a better world, to improve the world. Now, the evidence that there are people who are free, that are people that have got the proverbial saw out of the cake and escaped, is that there are many people who live the life that they desire. You may know some of them. You may even be jealous of the life they live. I'm telling you, jealousy is not necessary. I'm telling you that freedom is available. I'm telling you that rather than squander your talents, let's examine your strengths. Let's remove those obstacles. Let's move forward towards your opportunity. You are in the right place. These obstacles are not universal. You have more power than you think. The key is to think. I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. Now, these 5 pages here are just part of a larger program that I'm putting together for my private clients, and where we talk about an exercise that helps you unlock the outcomes that you desire. It helps you open doors that were previously closed for you. It helps remove that veil of distraction. Now, it does make you further from the peers that you experience, and it does take you away from those crabs pulling you back in the bucket. And it is a difficult emotional journey, but well worth the investment. It's a transformation of your mind that opens up opportunities and helps you navigate how the world really is rather than how people tell you it is. Because think about it. 100 years ago, you couldn't just fly across the ocean. 100 years ago, there was war and famine nearly everywhere. Now, those things haven't been resolved and they still exist today, but we're not going to solve those problems faster by regressing to an authoritative governmental system that pushes down on you, to a big business that tries to attach you to devices to keep you trapped so that you do their bidding and you kind of feed their goals and objectives. And you're certainly not going to do that by holding anybody down. So I'd like to invite you to write in with your questions. And if you desire to get a copy of this report that I'm putting together, please mention that. But at least start asking questions. Start asking questions of yourself. Are you going in the direction that will serve you in the future? That'll serve your future self? That'll take care of you, because the promises of others to take care of you is really about livestock and prisoner and slavery. And this is not for you. Again, I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. You can ask your questions at www.insidestrategicrelations.com, where we transform business relationships into profits guaranteed. And those profits include financial security, personal initiative, and mental freedom. Thanks for listening.